We are the Center for Spiritual Living Olympia. I want t-shirts that say, as a matter of fact, I am the center of the universe. We all are the center of the universe, because there's only one center, and we are all that. The universe as a word to describe the ineffable singularity that is our experience. Beyond words, we use the word God, some of us. Some of us say, please don't use that word. It's a word, meaning something so much bigger. God is shorthand. I open my whole being to something new. And I acknowledge that today it feels like something new is breaking open the shell. Something new is shaking the world. Something new is expanding my consciousness. And sometimes it feels a little scary or a little squirrely or a little unfamiliar. But, you know, that's what new is. I know that's what new is. It's unfamiliar. It's not scary unless I let it be. So I open to joy. I open to fabulous. Might have heard that before. I open and am aware that when I open, I call. I call fabulous. I call joy. I call love. I look for and receive as well all of these and more. In the words spoken today, in the hugs shared today, in the miracle of this electronic stuff that goes into that machine over there and then comes all over the world. It's magic. I just call it magic. All of that is done through the energy of love. That's my opinion. But I'm right. So grateful for that miracle, for this miracle, for the love that bounces around this room, for the newness that's bouncing around this room, that's bouncing around this world. As I look for the good and see it. Look for the good and see it. And call it out. And what happens when I look for the good and I see it and I call it out is I get to see more of it. Just heard that good just showed up. Did you hear that? More God, more good, more light, love, life, peace, power, beauty, joy comes our way when we look for it. And our job right now is to really, really know that. And it's not a job, it's a joy. So in gratitude for what shows up today when I call joy, I let my words go into the law. And that law has already got it working. The law is that cause and effect. The cause being love, joy. Effect being, guess what? Love, joy. Let these words go. Already done, and so it is.
So today's talk is, and this is our last of the 12 agreements. So we've come, for 12 weeks we've been doing these agreements. And our talk is, I agree to lighten up. Yeah, I can feel it in the room. Let's try it again. Our talk is, I agree to Albert Einstein, this is the opening quote for this chapter. Albert Einstein said, once you can accept that the universe is as matter expanding into nothing that is something. Once you can accept the universe as matter expanding into nothing that is something, wearing stripes with plaid comes easy. Hence, the original agreement before she condensed it down was, I agree to create joy in my relationships, my work, my play, and my life. Would you make that agreement with me? Yes. Okay, some of you would. Okay, good. I love this quote from Einstein because it reminds us that no matter how big our problems and challenges seem, in the cosmic view, in the God's eyes view, if you will, they are insignificant. There's a lovely photograph that was taken by Voyager, not the one in Star Trek, but the real one, that as it was leaving the solar system, they turned the cameras back and photographed Earth from the edge of the solar system, and it's called the blue dot. And here's this immense space, and in there you can see 1 pixel's worth of a blue dot, and that's our planet. And this immensity of space, we're sitting there going, this is my territory, and you get off my territory. We're doing all this crap, right? You know, the astronauts who go up in space and the ones who are on the space station have on several occasions said, I wish I could bring all the world leaders up here to get this view. Because from this view, there are no boundaries, there are no borders, there are none of that stuff. So can we get a higher view when we lift up from the challenges of our daily life? You know, there's a point where Marion Head, the author of the book, is talking about being in a situation, she's doing this agreement of lightening up, and she's having a horrible experience at the airport and all sorts of stuff. And in the middle of it, she's like, what can I find to lighten up about this? I can't. And finally she goes, I'm enjoying not being able to find anything to enjoy. Do we do that sometimes? I know you do. I do. So it's not that the things in our life are unimportant, but we need to remember and stay grounded in the larger truth, the larger view whenever we're doing this, and work with what we can work with, which is ourselves. Yes? Yes. As you know, one of my favorite Joseph Campbell quotes that I've been on all this year is, when we talk about settling the world's problems, we're barking up the wrong tree. The world is perfect. It's a mess. It has always been a mess. We're not going to change it. Our job is to straighten out our own lives. Breathe. Buffy and I have joked recently about the situation in the Middle East, and it's like we both said, haven't people read the Bible? Haven't we noticed that the Middle East has been at war with itself for 4,000 years? We're not going to come in and settle that. So Marion Head talks about her dad used to ask her, who's responsible for you having a good time at a party? And she learned early on that the answer is, I am. It's not the host or hostess, it's not the music, it's not the guests, it's not the food, it's not the setting, it's not the games. I am the only one who decides to enjoy or not enjoy the party. If we are waiting for anything or anyone else to change, to improve, before we can start enjoying our lives, give it up. Can I say that again? If we're waiting for anybody or anything else to change before we can start enjoying our lives, let it go. Kick it out of here. Give it up. As she says, it's time for a revolution in our own consciousness. Infinite, divine joy, love, peace, it's right here, right now. And by here, I don't mean in this room, I mean here, present in our lives, okay? But so often we're looking elsewhere for our joy. We're looking to the false gods, if you will, of external circumstances as our source, and we get upset. We get mad, sad, or scared when they don't conform to the way our ego and all of its conditioning thinks they should be. Now, you don't do this, I know, but you know people, you've seen people, right, who do this. Okay? And we essentially tell the universe, yeah, I could be experiencing great good right now. I could be experiencing love and joy and full aliveness and freedom and peace, but wait. I got this thing I'm going to get worked up about instead. I'm going to get all focused on that. I'm going to keep all that good on hold and while I make myself feel miserable. Yes? There will always be circumstances. There will always be stuff. Yes? Yes? There's always reasons we can use to put off experiencing our true self, our true nature. I shouldn't feel happy as long as somebody else is suffering, as though my being unhappy somehow helps their suffering. Somebody's always doing something that they shouldn't, whether it's a family member, whether it's a political leader, whether it's some angry, whacked-out person. Somebody's always doing something they shouldn't. Yes? As Joseph Campbell observes, the world is perfect. It's a mess. It's always been a mess. Our keeping ourselves miserable not only doesn't help, but actually continues and contributes to the mess. See, people grounded in love, peace, joy, all this stuff, living their authentic nature, living their authentic self, don't tend to add to the misery of this world. We tend to be living in joy. We tend to be living in peace. We tend to be living in love, which is contagious, yes? Okay? This final agreement brings us full circle back to our first agreement, which is, I agree to live my mission. I agree to live my authentic purpose of who I am, and what Marion called the one agreement. I agree to be my authentic self, my capital S divine self. I agree to be that self. Not to wait until circumstances are right, not to wait until somebody approves of me, gives me permission. If you need permission, then hi, I'm a minister. I give you permission to live fully and have fun, okay? If you need that, then, do. If you need mommy to do it, Buff, he'll stand up and do that for you, okay? Breathe. I agree to be my authentic divine self, and my mission is to live from and as that self in my life. And we do this by holding life lightly, not with a white-knuckled death grip, screaming all the way. Many of you know I'm a cycling fan, and one of the races that happens around this time of year is a race called the Paris-Roubaix, which takes place over pavés, which are big cobblestones in the dirt that were old farm roads from 150 years ago. And they're riding bicycles over this, and it's bumpy, and it's all sorts of stuff. They crash, they get flats, all sorts of stuff. And the way that they hold the handlebars is lightly, because if they grip hard, they'll be twisted and turned and dropped and crash right away. We have to go through life lightly, gently, holding on gently, not death grips, right? One of the best ways we can do this is by being present to the now. The now, this now, right now. Most people spend their time and mental and emotional energy living in the past with regrets, living in the future with anxiety, or living in the moment but in detached fantasy or escapism, right? But the only point we can change is now, the now. Marion talks about there was a time where she became aware of this. I take that back. I'm going to quote Viktor Frankl first. He says, between stimulus and response, there's a space. I quoted this last week. Between stimulus, between something happening to us and how we respond to it, there is a space. In that space lies our power to choose our response. In our response lies our potential for growth and freedom. In the now moment, what is the choice that I'm making in my response? We can either respond out of our old patterns, out of our old conditioned beliefs. Well, if somebody does this to me, I must do that to them. That's just how it's always been, right? We're watching that for 4,000 years in the Middle East and, all over the world. Yes? Yes? Okay. We have a choice. We can either report about our circumstances. Let me tell you about what's going on in my life. Or we can create the reality we would like to experience. We have that choice. And it's in that space in between something happens. Do I then just report, oh, look at that, I sprained my foot or whatever, my tooth fell out or whatever? Or do I create the reality that I want, the circumstance that I want going forward? And we create in the present moment, we create in the now. And what we create today, fear or freedom, jail or joy, becomes our nature, becomes our future, becomes our experience. As a friend of mine likes to say, call fabulous and fabulous comes. Right, Buffy? We can have all the good we can embody. That's Ernest Holmes. There's an infinite amount of good available to us. How much can we have? All of it, and as much as we can embody. That's the practicality of it. But we must be present to receive it. We must be present to win, yes? So if I'm off in the past, and I'm off in the future, and I'm off in Mr. In Between, if I'm off somewhere else, I'm not present to receive it. So Marion talked about in the book, she said, when she became aware of how not present she was, she said, my mind was often away from the now, mulling over some past event or worrying obsessively over some imagined future. Now, I know none of you do this, but you know people. I looked like I was here. All the lights were on. The car was in the driveway, but my mind had snuck away to fret. It is only when we truly know who we are and what the world is and how it really works that we have the ability to be both strong and flexible, to bend but not break at the messy storms of our lives. And those storms will wash over us, yes? They'll happen. When we are grounded in a deep awareness and practice of truth, clear on our mission in life and our ability to choose at any given moment. Always available to choose, always available to choose. We're free to do that every time. Setting into motion a new set of circumstances based on my choices. Do I choose out of my past, out of my habits, and then wonder why I get the same result over and over and over and over again? Or do I choose, step back and say, let me do something new here? I love Buffy's opening prayer. Sometimes it's messy. Sometimes we don't know what's coming and it feels a little uncomfortable. When we do something new, it feels uncomfortable, yes? It's new. And we can choose based on either our old stinking thinking, or we can choose based on fresh, new, at least to us, ideas, creating a lighter, brighter future. Straightening out our own lives. So these agreements are a model, a roadmap that we've been looking at for this last 12 weeks, a foundation on which we can build a new, stronger, more alive future, individually for ourselves, collectively as this center, and even more so as a world in which we live, and no matter what it looks like today. If we keep living these agreements, no matter what it looks like today, shift happens. Everything might look hopeless, lifeless and dead like it does in winter, yes? Okay. But spring arrives with light and warmth, and we suddenly see the effects of life, capital L life, happening under the ground behind the appearances. See, we can either get hypnotized by the appearances, or we can turn within to something that capital L life, that whatever name you want to give it, that is operating through us if we say yes. Be an agent of growth for good. That's my invitation to you. Be an agent of growth for good. After the 12th agreement in the book, there's a section called I Choose. I Choose. And if hopefully those of you who have the book, I invite you to take a look at that, because since you're always choosing, we're always choosing, right? Consciously or unconsciously, we're always choosing, okay? And since we're always choosing and creating our own future by our choices, I invite you to read through this section and make some choices. Choose some stuff. Choose what you want to start to embody more of. Notice that I didn't say wish or hope. It's I choose. And this implies a commitment, a sense of I will do this, I will take directed action to make these choices real. And sometimes this involves choosing to let go of old dysfunctional choices. I was seeing somebody looking up there. Old dysfunctional choices or people that no longer work. How many of us in our lives have had to let go of either old patterns or old people that don't work in our lives anymore, right? Anybody who's gone through, I've talked to a 12-step friend of mine who said, I was hoping to be able to go through 12 steps and keep my old drinking buddy friends. Doesn't work. So we have to let go of the old that no longer works, but may feel comfortable because they're all we've known. But letting these go opens up the doors to a freedom that we have never known before. There's always been awaiting us to step into it. So this is the 12 agreements that we've been working with. Next week, we're going to look at a different foundation, and that's, or not next week, I'm sorry, next month. Next week, the kids are going to guide us into becoming possibilitarians. But next month, we're going to start to look at the foundation of our teaching for the first 4 chapters of the Science of Mind book. Okay? But that's where we're going. So this week, 3 spiritual practices I'm going to invite you to engage in. Number 1, return to the first agreement. And if you didn't make a mission statement or a purpose statement, or you start to wrestle with that a little bit, make one, or review the one that you already have created. Okay? And add words like enjoy, or joy, or joyfully. I joyfully save the whole world. Now, I joyfully allow myself to fully express in my life. I enjoy. So that's the first one, is go back to your purpose statement, your mission statement, your vision statement of yourself, and add words like enjoy, joy, or joyfully. See, we can take on, I'm looking over here at Levon, and it's like, I can sing, and I can either be in joy, or I can go, oh God, I got to sing again. And one will create a different experience than the other, yes? Okay. Number 2, ask yourself, what is one small thing I can do today to lighten up, and do it? Here's one of my things. The whole outfit is one of my things. And then 3, consciously choose the future you want to experience. Write out your choices. You'll find those if you have the book on page 209 or after the 12th agreement for those who are using the Kindle version. Those are the three spiritual invitations that I have for you this week. Would you be willing to accept those and play with those? There's an extra credit one. Go ahead, Sam. Extra credit. Attend today's workshop on the creative process to gain greater understanding about how you create your own life. That's, we'll do that at 1 o'clock for 2 hours. That's what do they call it? Unabashed, unashamed plug for my workshop, yes. And so, Reverend Cameron Trimble says, the work is not to feel calm all the time. We're going to have stuff happen, yes? We're going to have stuff happen. If we do this, it's not that, the world is going to become unicorns and rainbows for us. Stuff is going to happen. She says, the work is not to feel calm all the time. It is to remain available to the moment, to this moment, available to the people in front of you, available to the small, necessary acts of care that are always within reach. This is how we live when the world is unstable, not by waiting for certainty to return, but by practicing presence in the midst of its absence. That's my invitation for you, is to be a place where you practice presence in the midst of whatever is happening around you. We have an affirmation. Say this with me. I choose to lighten up. I choose to create my future now. And with a little more feeling, I choose to lighten up. I choose to create my future now. I do have a closing quote that I forgot to read, and it's a poem that kind of came to me this week. And so I just want to share it with you. I'm going to lighten up today. Let the heavy fall away. Laugh a little, love out loud. Find the silver in the cloud. Joy is closer than I knew. It's right here in what I choose. Isn't that beautiful? Brent, could you make a song out of that?
Like now?
Like now?
Sure. Yeah.
Are you good with that?
Yeah.
Okay. Brent is so good. He can do that right now. Thank you.
This wonderful song by Brent called Lighten Up Today.